What's up, everybody? It's me, George Assassin, here for my second Assassin's Week in Review guest podcast. This week I have Wikviya with me. He's going to answer a few questions. We're going to go over his card for this week and give him time to discuss anything that he may want to discuss. Should be a good show. Hope everyone enjoys, and thank you for tuning in. Again, thank you, D-Rod, for giving me the opportunity to do this. Kudos to the GMs and commissioners for putting on the shows for us to enjoy every week. So let's get this rolling. Let's get Wick V in here and pick his brain a little bit and hear what he has to say. Hey, you there, Wick?
Yes, I am.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Glad to have you. I know D-Rod's gonna be jealous.
Always.
Always. If he's not in it, he gets jealous, but he'll be all right.
That's a fact. He'll be okay.
Like I said, appreciate you joining me. It's gonna be kind of an impromptu show due to time.
Okay.
Again, welcome. I got a few questions for you. If you up to answering some.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'll just kind of throw some at you. What was your motivation to want a commissioner on Carnage?
Well, didn't start out as commissioner, as everybody knows. Started out as the GM under you when you're the commissioner. But basically, like I just saw D-Rod had a spot he needed someone to fill, and the person before me essentially just left. So D-Rod asked me, and you asked me, and I said, let's do the GM spot first and see how it goes. And I think it went really well. Just started out making cards and did a good job, I believe. You and I did a good job, and worked together well. And then when he had to leave, D-Rod asked me, and you had recommended me to be the commissioner, and I just kind of stepped in that role and kind of took on both roles for a few weeks before getting Nerd in as a GM and getting him going. So just kind of saw like you did, I guess. D-Rod kind of had a void, and I kind of just basically stepped into it, just trying to be helpful. I'm not doing UW right now, so it's not like I'm busy with any other EFED.
Yep.
So that's
Nerd
basically it.
Really good job.
Thanks. Yeah, we've been working really well together. It's taken, and that's not a jab at Nerd. It's just taken him a few weeks to kind of understand everything and get going. But now that last 2 weeks, he's really jumped in and helped out. And this week, it's been all his card, except for me just kind of basically approving it or giving input on it. So,
yeah,
he's done a really good job.
Yep. This is probably his first time actually doing anything like this, isn't it?
Yeah, as far as I know, yeah. I think this is his first time in an EFED period that I can recall or that I know of.
Yeah, y'all been doing a really good job. I mean, 4 stars last week.
Yeah, I can't complain. Beating Anarchy, that's all we want to do.
Yeah, as long as you can beat D-Rod, that's the goal.
Beat up D-Rod is a valued hashtag in my society, so yeah.
Yep. Next question here. Same thing I asked D-Rod. At what age did you watch your very first WWE event, and what impact did it have on you?
Oh man, I was really young actually. I remember watching um wow, really drawing a blank here. Not Macho Man, not Hulk Hogan. The long hair looks like Cobalt. Why can I not think of his name? He got into the Hall of Fame last year. Oh my goodness. Why can't I think of his name? You know the guy. I mean, he's comes out running really hard and shakes the ropes.
Ultimate Warrior?
Yes, I don't know why I can think of that. I ended up watching him when I was really young a few times and thought it was pretty fun and pretty cool. I watched Hulk Hogan back in the day. It was a lot different.
Yeah.
And then when he got to Goldberg's time in WCW, but I've been kind of in and out of wrestling my whole life. I watched it pretty regularly whenever I was younger for a while during the Ultimate Warrior days, and then just stopped watching for a good bit, and then got hooked on again when Goldberg came in. I was a huge Goldberg fan, and then when he left WWE after the WrestleMania and the way he left, I kind of lost interest, so to speak. So I missed a lot of the like the Attitude Era, and I missed a lot of like CM Punk and some people like that. So, but then
Oh,
I
you
just
missed
recently
some of the
started.
good stuff then.
Yeah, apparently so. I missed a lot of the good stuff.
Yeah,
But
Attitude Era
I,
is probably the best.
yeah, I've always been a big fan of football, college football, and NFL, and so that's always taken like my first precedent as to what to watch. And with Monday Night Football being on at the same time as Raw, and SmackDown not being live, I just kind of wrestling took a back seat to some other sports. But here recently, about I guess a year and a half, 2 years ago, I started getting back into it, and I've been pretty regular watching it, almost like it's a soap opera every week, which is essentially what they designed it to be.
Yeah.
So I've been back and forth, but I mean, I would say the biggest impact wrestler in my span has been Goldberg. Now that he's back, it's pretty cool.
Have you got a Goldberg tattoo?
No, I don't have any tattoos. I've got one on my butt cheek. Never mind, that didn't happen.
Okay. Let's keep that to yourself. um,
I was listening. I was listening to the radio in the mornings when I take Shelby, and there's a little clip about somebody having a Tom Brady tattoo on his butt since he won the Super Bowl. I was like, wow,
that's pretty.
that's kind of stretching it.
Yeah,
So that's
that's
why I
one of
said
the best ones.
that. Yeah, definitely is.
Um, let's see. Next question. This is kind of. I'm pretty sure you. I don't know. You might have. I asked D Rod this one. Have you
Sure.
ever done a WWE move on any of your friends in real life?
I've always been a Diamond Dallas Page fan, not as much as Goldberg, but he's kind of been like my other guy when he was in that same span as Goldberg in the WCW. So I've diamond cutted a few people. And of course, playing football, I've speared several people just
Yeah,
by default. It's technically just a tackle. So yeah, I've
yeah,
done my fair share of. I haven't had the ability to jackhammer someone. I think that'd be pretty exciting, but I don't know how the other person would come out of that. So
yeah. It may not turn out too well.
yeah.
Um, let's see. Here's a good question. Who in the WWC that you haven't had a chance to wrestle would you like to get in the ring with?
Hmm. I've wrestled a lot since I've been in WCW or WWC since day one. I don't think I've ever wrestled. My memory just might be off. I don't think I've wrestled Cobalt. I think that would be an interesting one.
You
I don't
haven't?
know that I've wrestled him.
Nope. You haven't never
I
wrestled
don't
him.
think I've wrestled Captain Ryan either. That would be a good one.
That Captain Ryan's really he's impressive.
Yeah, but aside from that, I've wrestled. I haven't wrestled the new Dallas Havoc either. That might be a good one too. So I guess those would be my top three. But I've wrestled a lot of people in
I think
WWC
you've
since I was.
wrestled everybody since the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I was in the very first WWC show, so
Yep.
or at least I had a call D-Rod created.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't
Your calls
not
are
quite the
pretty
call I
good.
have now, but
Yeah.
it's still technically me.
Yep. D-Rod creates your call. It's kind of like a thrift store call.
It is just kind of thrown together.
Yeah. He's gotten better.
Yeah, it's getting better. Yeah,
So Cobalt, that'd be an interesting match.
yeah, that might be a good one. Right now, Hooligan's kind of in a mix with him and Mr. Havoc, and it's a pretty good rivalry between I guess you
Yeah.
could say, the three of them. So I mean, Cobalt's a champ and he's retained it a few times, so
Yeah.
I think it might be a good one. Might have to toss that hint to nerd if I'm not doing it right now, I guess.
Yep. Yeah. Mr. Havoc's been giving Third Gunman hell these past 2 weeks.
He has. He's come along. His like singles record isn't really that great, but when he gets into like a triple threat or beyond, or even with his most recent singles bout with Hooligan, it was a great match of the year candidate for Carnage. So maybe his call's finally starting to come around. His singles record, though, I don't think he's got technically a singles win,
Yeah.
but his call's starting to come around, and he's always been kind of like an up and down call. But he just hasn't had the ability to get a W yet in singles. But hopefully here soon he'll be picking it up. I can see him being on a winning streak, possibly getting a belt here. I don't know, next month or so, possibly, depending on how things work out.
Yeah, I seen your a picture. I think Donnie had sent me a picture. Donnie's always messaging me wanting help with something.
Yeah.
He was having problems with his rankings. I guess you had did it a different way now, and he was having trouble with something. So he left me a message last night, and I seen the way y'all was doing it now. It looks really good.
Yeah, we just kind of. I mean, are you talking about the one where it's basically a poll system now, or are you talking about the one like from a week ago, like the one that we just extended from you? Because we just changed it like yesterday, the day before.
Well, it's the one where it's based off of singles.
Yeah, it's based off the. Yeah, I mean, this week and beyond, or this week and in the past will be based off of that. But we're actually changing it starting next week. But anyway, to answer your question, yeah, it's just based off of singles, like number of wins, number of matches. So, for example, Gear Zakai has 8 wins, and he's got the most singles wins out of anybody on the WWC on Carnage, and in part because he's been here for a long time and he's got more matches. But regardless, he's got more wins. So it's like based off of number of wins
Yeah,
overall. And then it just goes all the way down the list the best we can to get it as accurate as possible.
yeah.
But I guess if you don't mind me taking a few minutes, yesterday or the day before, I can't remember, we announced like a new ranking system where it's going to be more of a poll base, like college football, so to speak. We're still going to have the win the way it was. We're going to have, I just basically expanded the Excel sheet where it now includes, of course, what we were doing, just the number of wins total that a call has. So Gears Zakai still has 8 wins, and he's still the top on that particular ranking system, but we're also factoring in like winning percentage. You take someone's call like Candace's Dread Havoc, she's 5-1 or 5-2 now. I think 5-1. She's got a really, really high winning percentage. I think the highest out of anybody. But due to her only winning 5 matches, she's kind of down, I think, in fourth, fifth, or sixth. So she's in the world ranking or close to it, but not quite at the top, just based off of being 3 wins behind Gear Zakai.
Yeah,
So Hooligan, third gunman, said, what about looking at winning percentage? Because then you factor in my call, Wikviya, you factor in Fire and Trap Matt's, Candace's, Rogan's call, right around the 6-2, 6-1, 5-1, 5-2 range, and all of a sudden we're like at the top of the charts as far as winning percentage goes. So we're going to start factoring that in too, but we're also going to factor in non-singles wins and losses. You take Nerd Nerford's call, for example. He won the Fatal Four Way, even though there was a little bit of controversy in it. He still won that, and then he won a triple threat in Anarchy to win his title over there. You've also got matches. He's won two 10-man rumbles now, so that has to count for something, right?
yeah,
So then the final thing we're doing is basically Nerdnuffer and I will look at everything that I just mentioned and kind of come up with our own opinionated poll for ourselves. We'll each do one, and then we'll basically, just like the college football playoff poll does now, compare that and come up with one final poll. So it's not technically a ranking system. I mean, it is, but it's more so like a subjective poll now.
yeah,
So we're going to go through and say, well, Wick's got, Candace, Gears, Fire Trap Matt, but yet, Nerd Nerford's got Gears, Nerd, Candace, or whatever it might be. And we're going to try to figure out the best way that we can mesh those two opinionated polls together and do like a weekly poll where we're going to release, just like college football does, the 20th through 15th ranked calls are this, 15th through 10, 10 to 5, and then obviously the 4 through 1 will be the world ranking contenders. So I think it'd be pretty cool. Add some, obviously, some subjective criticism in,
yeah,
but also add in some more overall fairness where we're factoring a bunch of different things instead of just straight up wins. So I
yeah,
think it'll be good. It'll be interesting to see how it unfolds the next few weeks and how the WWC universe and people in chat respond to it. Because Gears is used to saying, "Well, I've got 8 wins, so I'm number one." But yet on the Super Bowl, he could be as far down as say fifth or sixth.
yeah,
But we'll see. So obviously, some people aren't going to be happy, but others might be.
yeah,
But Nerd and I both think, and from Hooligan Third Gunman's input, that it's a more overall fair poll, factoring a lot more different things than just who's got the most wins. Because, like I said, we are kind of essentially punishing Candace's call for not having 8 wins as opposed to 5, but yet she's only got one loss.
yeah,
Gears has 4 losses. So we're going to try it out and see how it goes and see what the reactions are and go from there.
yeah. I mean, what you could do down the road too is just so you get some, some unbiased information. Maybe have two or three people that's kind of like on a board.
Like it,
Like they got
yeah,
with
like
college
a
football.
panel.
Have them put
Yeah,
a poll together, send them to
yep,
you, and give
yeah.
you a little bit more input that way too.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you're a college football fan, this new system is essentially like the BCS, the Bowl Championship Series, a couple years before what we have now, where there's 10 computer polls. There's the AP Associated Press poll, the media poll. There's a coaches poll. There was like I think about 15 polls together. They're all averaged into one final BCS poll, so it's similar to that.
Yep.
But yeah, I think like you said, I mean, it's not a bad idea. It's a really good one, but we just kind of want to fill it out first with Nerd and I, and then expand it.
Yeah.
Of course, like you know, and like D-Rod knows, it's hard to find. It's not a jab against anyone in particular. It's just kind of hard to find someone who's consistently available to help
Yeah.
on a regular basis. Is sometimes a stretch, but
Yep.
it is what it is. It's life, you know.
Yeah. Let's see. Next question here. Mm, I'm gonna ask you this, the same I asked D Road. One word to describe Donnie Havoc.
Oh Lord, Donnie and I actually have a really good relationship. The WWC commissioner slash GM on the opposite show. So, like D-Rod said in chat, we may not like necessarily always want to agree just because we're rivals, so to speak. But in real life, we've got a pretty cool relationship and always have because they came in the EW first and then were brought into WWC. So I've been talking to them for a really long time. But anyway, to answer your question, man, um, it's a really tough question. My answer is really boring, but I want to say just interesting because you just never know what Donnie's going to do. I mean,
Yeah.
he could be buddy buddy D Rod one week and on the same page the next week he's being rumored to be fired or have a second GM brought in,
Yeah.
and one week he hates me, the next week he's messaging me like every other day. You just never really know with Donnie Havoc. So I would say a boring answer, but interesting. I don't know
That's
what
a
else to
good
say
answer.
about that.
Sounds
Yeah,
like Donnie.
intriguing, interesting. I don't know.
Yep. Um, let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna have to ask you these two because these are like two of the main questions last week. As the commissioner of Carnage, what makes you think Carnage is the better show over Anarchy?
I will say I think that Anarchy has, well, it's kind of somewhat evened out lately, but I think Anarchy still has the better overall cause. They have like a stronger bunch of calls over there than Carnage. But I think on Carnage we really just focus on where your call is as far as belts go. We have a five belt ranking system now. We actually took the Tater Tot belt out of the ranking system to now have five people in each belt ranking. So the world title's got five calls, and the Intercontinental title has five calls in it. So you're really going to see a lot of good matchups based on where your call is, but we also try to match up just funny things or like things we pick up in chat. I think we're really good on that. Like people bickering back and forth that might happen to be on Carnage, we'll just randomly throw them in a match. And then, like you saw in the last show, the pay per view, as I mentioned, Katie Hooligan and Mr. Havoc had an incredible match.
Yep.
So Gears and I thought, well, why not just have Mr. Havoc come in to that match, even though he's a belt behind. He's really close in the rankings to where Hooligan is and Cobalt. So we try to inject what you guys do in the chat into the match card as best we can. But like I said, we're just about getting the best matchups possible that are most relevant for your particular belt. But we also don't want to just say, well, you've got four other people to fight for a month and that's it. Suck it
Yeah.
up because we want to make it interesting. But we try to inject storylines and matchups that are relevant, but also try to stay focused to the top five calls fighting it out for the world, 6 through 10 fighting it out for the IC. So it all just kind of works its way together towards pay per view really well that way. I mean, we're just. I mean, you got D Rod over there, so that's a negative automatically for Anarchy, and you see all of his silly attempts at storylines and trying to screw LA over. We're just kind of to the book over here in Carnage. I guess we've been dubbed the SmackDown of WWC, the lane opportunity. So,
Yeah.
but you won't ever see any unfairness. Like where you are in the rankings is where you are. We're not going to say, well, third Gummins in a wolf pack, so I'm gonna just throw him in the world title ranking. That's not how it works over here. So
Yeah. And I
we're
now
more
that
more fair.
yeah, now that Donnie's kind of picking up on your system, should make things pretty competitive.
Yeah, I mean, from running the DWE back in the day and knowing how weird the in-game ranking system can be, it's really challenging to get a good ranking system. That's like the basis of your show, right? So you gotta rank people where they fall, but the in-game system is really bad. And like, if you have, just take the Gears of Kai example, he's been in there for a while, so he'll probably always be in the top. I don't know, maybe seven or so. But say you have someone new come in, I guess, for example, LJB, and he starts out like 3-0. The in-game ranking system will put him like in the top four just because he's won three matches in a row. He started out hot,
Yeah.
but in reality, if you look at the ranking like we have it, he'd be say 10th or so.
Yep.
So it's hard to get the rankings right. But I mean, Donnie and I have talked several times about rankings, and you know, does a non-singles win count as a win, or does it count as a loss if you weren't pinned? And if you were pinned, does that count worse than if you just weren't pinned? There's a lot of factors I don't think a lot of people
Yeah.
take into consideration with the rankings. But
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
we'll see.
I've never figured, if it's a triple threat, I figured the only thing you really need to count in that match is who won the match. 'Cause, I mean, it's kind of hard to give two other guys a loss. You know.
Yeah, and that's what'll make this new poll system different and exciting because Nerd and I don't agree on that, or we don't same on that. I think like you do. If you win a triple threat, it's a good win, but you didn't necessarily, beat wrestler A or wrestler B one on one. You just happen to either get lucky or things fell into your place, or you just flat out dominated. You don't know. It's just different. So like you, like if someone gets pinned, they technically lost, but so did the other person. But I don't really
Yep.
take anything away from them. But Nerd Nerfer, thinks differently. Thinks like a win is a win, and if you lose, whether you're pinned or not, you still lost. So that's why we're gonna have a non-singles wins and non-singles losses,
Well, see, that
like
was the
on
thing
Excel
when
sheet.
that was the thing too when Sarah was my general manager. She
Mm-hmm.
thought the same way Nerdnuffer did.
Yeah,
If you was in a match, whether or not you got pinned or not, you lost, and it counted
yeah. I
against you.
mean, there's some logic to that. Obviously, it's just hard for me to
I
take
mean,
something away from a call on AI that didn't technically. I mean, if you didn't win, but you didn't get pinned, and then if you just happen to not get pinned, you still lost. Like what, it's hard for me to take away from someone for that. But
yeah, it's
I
like
don't
when you
know.
got a fatal four way. You got four debuts, or let's say three debuts. You put them three debuting guys in a match with somebody that's in the top 10.
Right.
If that top 10 guy wins, them three debuts automatically get a loss, and that's not
Yeah.
good for them.
Yeah.
That's just my thinking.
I agree, but everyone thinks differently, and that's what'll make this new polling system between Nerd and I so interesting. I can see some heated conversations between Nerd and I before we release the poll on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
Could be interesting.
All right, here's some questions from Nerd Nerfer for D-Raw last week. I think it'd be suiting for you.
All right,
If you could have lunch with anyone, who would it be?
just one.
Yeah.
Even though I really love Goldberg and he's been around, I've seen him for a lot of time with the WCW now and the WWE. I think AJ Styles would be my current choice because I've seen a lot of Goldberg and I kind of know a lot about him. But AJ Styles lives in the county next to me. He lives like 20 minutes from my house, so I think it'd be neat to see his perspective now. And he's obviously younger, more relatable than Goldberg being 49 or 50, whatever he is. So I
Yeah.
think AJ Styles will take that.
Nice.
But a funny story, Ric Flair actually lives close to me as well, and he goes to a Mexican restaurant like Cantina all the time. My buddy actually was over there in Swanee, which is right next door, or the county next to us, and saw him over there. So apparently, if I wanted to have lunch with Ric Flair, I could just go to that Mexican restaurant every other day and see him over there.
Nice.
But I think it'd still be AJ Styles.
AJ Styles.
Hmm.
All right. If you was a wrestler, what would be your in-ring name, attire, and finisher?
Oh Lord. I mean, I like Wikviya. I've had that nickname for a long time. Outside of WCW and EFADS, that's been my gamer tag on Xbox for about 10 years. And I am part Native American. It just simply means from the Hopi tribe, one who brings. So I kind of like that. It's basically saying one who brings it or brings it every time. So I mean, I, I think it'd probably be similar to what my WFC call is, but I couldn't copy Kofi Kingston's pants. I wouldn't think you'd be cool with that, but be
Yeah.
something similar.
Yeah,
you know.
might be some copyright infringement.
Yeah. It'd be
Um,
similar. I mean, I would probably wear some kind of tights and
yeah,
do the same color system and all that. So, wouldn't be too far fetched from what my WWC call is.
yeah. Let's see. This is a Johnny Sniper question. Any competitor you want to fire due to their actions in the locker room on Carnage?
Oh, well, that makes it more interesting. I was going to say in general, I've already fired one guy twice from Wolfpack, but let's see, on Carnage. Well, we kind of saw it already. We saw Jalen Buckets. I mean, he was like really giving you and I at the time crap about wanting to get a world title shot, but he was the IC belt holder.
Yep.
So we're like, no, you're not quite there yet. You need to just wait it out. And he would say, no, I want it now, and I demand it now. And you and I just said, no, like it's not going to happen because it's not how the rankings work. He just kept on and on and on. But I guess the current example, man, I don't really catch a lot of slack currently on Carnage. I mean, that could change next week, but
Yeah.
um,
Mr. Havoc's pretty close.
yeah,
Pretty
Mr.
close.
Havoc. But let's see, he's an interesting one. I don't think that would. I don't think there's anyone I would fire right now. No one's really giving me any flack right now.
Yeah, Carnage has been pretty smooth.
It's been, yeah. I mean, it would have been anyone from the middle fingers, but they've died down since Wolfpack crushed him in the ring. So we won and shut him up. But it would have been them if they would have kept on.
Yeah.
Maybe Turpentine if he would have kept on, but he's calmed down. So I don't
We
know.
do have these rumors of Asylum coming soon.
We do. I don't know if everyone knows those calls or not. So I don't know if I'd be spoiling anything or not. If I were to say who that's supposed to be.
I don't even know who
So,
it is either. I've just heard through the grapevine that there's Asylum coming.
well, it's Candace's faction, Dread Havoc, and she's got a few other people with her. I will let her, I guess, release those people instead of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's got a very interesting faction lined up, and from what talking to her one on one, and I don't want to spoil anything again, she's definitely got some ill intentions for Carnage on who. Yeah, she's gonna basically try to make people upset and hate Asylum. So I can see them being an interesting faction that might fall into the category of the last question
Yeah.
in a few next few weeks. So we'll just see how she's pretty ruthless. She's pretty good at trash talk and promos. So we'll just see how far she wants to go. I'll just put it that way. It's up to her. I just told her it's Carnage. We can do what we want. So go for
Yeah.
it.
Oh boy.
We'll see how far she wants to take it.
She's a
Yeah, I
hound
just kind of
too. Ain't no
I
telling
just
what.
kind of, yeah, I unleashed the reins on her and just told her to have fun, and we'll see where that goes. Could have been my biggest
Yep.
downfall
She
so
got that in
far. We'll
writing
see.
now.
might,
She's got that in writing now. You're doomed.
might have to fire her in a few weeks. I don't know.
Here's a
Send her to
good
Anarchy.
question. Here's a good question. As the leader of
Hmm.
Wolfpack, how surprised was you whenever Shane and Deadman Walking asked to join? Because that blew my mind, especially with Shane.
Yeah, Shane and Deadman Walk and I don't really have the rosiest of histories together between the three of us. I wouldn't say that by any means. So I was, kind of shocked as well, like everyone else. But I think that when you introduce someone like for the third time, like the NWO, they've got a history of just really rubbing people the wrong way. And I
Yeah,
don't think it was if you can't beat them, join them, so to speak, with Deadman and Shane, because I'm sure they could beat us. But I just think it was, well, if we can make this faction that's already strong stronger, we can have support from Lager Taker and currently Ziggy. Then why not just kind of join forces? Like I said, I don't think it was by any means that we can't beat them, so join them. I just think it's let's make them stronger with us and kind of see where it goes. But we haven't had any cards with them yet. They haven't been on Anarchy technically as Wolfpack until this week. If they're actually going to be, I can't remember the
I think they
Anarchy
got.
card.
I think they got some qualifier matches for the Rumble.
Yeah, I believe so. I don't think they have any tag stuff yet, but
No. Well, I think that, like I said, I was like, wow. I mean, that's too good. I mean, they both hold belts too right now.
yeah, that was a huge pickup for Wolfpack.
Yeah.
Champ's going to champ, and that keeps on happening. So
Yep.
I can't complain, but I was also a little shocked.
Yeah. You know, it's a Minecraft phrase. You went from a wood house to a stone house.
Yeah, pretty much. So we like Ziggy, and he does a good job, but he's just flat out not here much right now. So it's kind
Yeah.
of, I mean, if I were Donnie, I would do the same thing. If he's not going to be here, I'm not going to put him in matches. But
Yeah.
just, it's nice to have two active people both in the EFAD and in the chat. So I'm
Yep.
looking forward to it. We're just going to see where it goes.
Um, Next question. We'll be wrapping up questions here in a second. I was watching your pay per view during the Royal Rumble, and I don't know who this guy is, and I'm sure it's been talked about. The big dude in the blue overalls that was eliminated in like 3 seconds. I think Jay Brent Jody was his name.
Yeah, Jody's his name. Yeah, he is
Very
actually.
impressive debut, in and out of the ring.
Yeah, it didn't exactly go as I would have thought or he would have hoped. He's actually, and I think D-Rod brought this up in the stream. He's actually D-Rod's youth pastor.
Yeah.
So, just knowing D-Rod and talking with people at his church, I've gotten to know him too. And I was like, hey, you don't happen to like WWE wrestling, dude? And he's like, yeah, actually, Andre the Giant's my favorite wrestler. And I was like, well, I'm gonna make you a call and show it to you. And you don't, I know you don't know what that is, but I'm gonna show it to you, and I'm gonna inject you into D-Rod's EFAD. And at first he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was just told him, Twitch.tv, D-Rod 2222, go there on this date, and whenever D-Rod says he's gonna do it, just come watch. And he's like, all right, cool, whatever. Didn't really know what to expect, but actually ended up creating a Twitch account, which is funny. But yeah, I made his call based off of like a real life Facebook picture of him and from what D-Rod's told me about him. And um, being in the ring for 5 seconds on their debut isn't exactly what anyone hoped for, but I assume
I
he'll
think he might have beat Santino's record on that one.
No, I think he lasted longer than Santino. Santino basically came in and was immediately taken out. He actually came in, made a few steps, and then was thrown over the ropes.
Yeah,
And
maybe
he actually
three.
fought it off for a while, yeah. So he wasn't in and out. He was in and fighting, and it didn't work out. But I don't know. Like that's the weirdness of WWE, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, standing outside the ring, flexing your muscles while somebody pulls a belt down. You know, that kind of weird.
Yeah. There's a lot of weirdness in the game. I'll tell you that, and that was just one of them.
Um,
So, like I said, hopefully, I mean, you can't get much worse than that. So I'd imagine this call takes a good turn.
yeah, hopefully it does.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. I think that's about it. Let me think. I think that was about all the questions. Now, if you want, let's go over your card for this week and make our picks.
Okay. Right.
I got
Sounds
the
good.
list here. You got Crusher versus Third Gunman.
Yep.
Um,
A normal match.
yep. I'm gonna take my boy Third Gunman in that one.
Okay. Well, this is a big match because all these next few matches are Royal Rumble qualifier match. Winner gets in, the loser has to watch. Wolfpack, I can't do anything but take Hooligan.
Yep.
I think Crusher's a good opponent. He hasn't gotten to the ring a ton, but he's won and retained the Tanner title one or two times now. So he's a good call. But I think you're finally seeing Hooligan's call go on a good streak. I know he didn't win the last two matches, but his call has picked up like his offense and whatnot. So I think Hooligan will take it. At least
Yeah.
I hope he does.
Yep.
Rumble without Hooligan would be disappointing.
Yeah. Next match y'all have Third Street Saints versus, I guess that's Desmond Havoc
That is Desmond Havoc versus
versus
Cobalt in a
Cobalt.
tables match.
Oh
Yeah,
man, is this
that's a tough
another?
one.
This another Rumble match?
Yeah, the next one, the first five matches are Rumble qualifiers.
Man, this is a tough one.
It
Um,
is, yeah. I mean, the Wolfpack side of me says Third Street Saints going to win easily. And that's what I would like to see
you got
happen.
Cobalt. I'm gonna have to take
Cobalt's
Cobalt because I mean,
logically, if I wasn't in the Wolfpack, Cobalt would be a very strong
yep,
chance of winning because he's been so good as of late, and he's been put to the test and retained the tournament title a few times now. So you can't really take that away from him. And I think Desmond Havoc's call, we actually changed it last week, so it's technically a new call for him. So it's hard to say.
yeah,
Still yet to be determined on what his call is going to be like.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take Cobalt in that one.
Yeah, personally, I'm taking Third Street Saints outside of Wolfpack. Cobalt's a good choice.
Yep. And next match you have Victor Payne, I think.
Yep.
T
Versus
Armstrong.
Timothy Armstrong versus Mr. Havoc in a TLC match. It's a tough one because, like I
Yeah.
said earlier, Mr. Havoc's got a good call, but he hasn't been winning at times.
Yep.
And Victor Payne and Timothy Armstrong are newer calls. And they've won a few, I believe, and had some struggles along the way too. But
I'm gonna have to go
I'll
with
go with
Mr.
the.
Havoc.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. The popular choice would be Mr. Havoc.
Yep. Next one. Matches versus LBJ versus Jody.
I'm taking Jody in 3 seconds.
Yeah, I'm taking Jody too. I'm gonna go with him supporting his
Actually, I mean, I would assume matches would win. He's won two 10-man rumble, and he's had a good call. And in both of the rumbles, he came in like in the second or third position, and he lasted the entire way and won. So I would take matches for
yeah.
sure.
Next you have Terp versus CBN versus Goose versus Alex Carter.
Yeah, the
Mm,
fatal four way still cage match.
yeah.
I'm gonna go on a limb and pick Goose to win. He has not won anything yet in the on Carnage, and I'm gonna go on a limb and pick Goose. Just see and pull for him and see what happens. You've also got Country Boy Nation, Turpentine, Alex Carter, the
Yeah,
crazy
I'm
man.
gonna have to
So
go out there on a limb and go with Country Boy Nation.
it's a good pick. He had a good Rumble debut,
Yep.
or re-debut, if or return, I guess, whatever you call it.
Yep.
I think it's his first time in the ring on 2K17, if I'm not
Yeah, it
mistaken.
is actually. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Um, then you have your contenders brawl, which is a world title match at Carnage pay per view.
Yeah, this is actually going to be at the Rumble pay-per-view. We had a yeah,
That's
it's
right.
we just thought the Carnage pay-per-view was before the Rumble, and we had a miscommunication there. So it'll be at the Royal Rumble.
You
Be
got
one of our two matches since D-Rod stole one with this stupid match. But anyway, we can talk about that later.
so we got Wick versus Tinku versus Gears. Now, if
Yeah,
Gears wins, it's a 1v1 with Nerd. If Tink
correct.
wins, triple threat with Gears and Nerd. If you win, it's a fatal four way. Any
Yeah,
glitches, automatic fatal four way.
yeah. I don't think. Let's see. I don't know if this is a normal triple threat. Obviously, it's Extreme Rules or whatnot being a triple threat. But I don't know if there's any stipulations as far as TLC or what. I don't guess we. I have to check with Nerd on that. Either way,
That's a
gosh,
tough match because all three of
it
them
is.
have done really well.
Yeah, if you look at last week's pay-per-view match, other than me glitching out and being in the mannequin challenge mode
Yep.
for the last 2 minutes of the match, it was a back and forth, and you just
Yeah.
never knew. I mean, I'm gonna have to pick myself because I'm egotistical and all that stuff that people call me. So
Yeah.
I'll pick myself to win.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna have to take you in this one too because
Yes,
um,
smart man, Georgia.
because not to me your call's better, but you
My
can't.
my call just seems. I mean, my call just seems to find a way a lot of.
Yep.
And it didn't work out last time because I glitched out, but I was right there in the thick of things until I glitched, and could have taken it, but it didn't happen. But for some reason, my call, even on 2K16, just finds a way.
Yep.
I'm gonna hope he does the same thing this time around as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't really set up any wall for me. If I win, I get a fatal four way, so
Yeah.
it's not like I'm getting a huge advantage by winning. But I would be excluded if I didn't win, obviously.
Yep. You still
But
need.
it's not an easy road ahead if I win by any means.
Gears, he's got a good call. Thank you.
Yeah,
He just surprises you. You just never know with him. He's one of them calls that wins when he wants to and loses when he wants to.
yeah.
And then the main event, I got Wolfpack versus Blackout. Um,
Yeah, this is actually an Extreme Rules tag team matchup.
I think
We let,
last week, or was it last week, or it was in chat where y'all had said that it glitched out or somebody got
well, yeah,
hit.
last week on the pay per view, it was PB and Third Street Saints versus Dean and Mark Sanic from the Blackout, and it was a good match. But then I believe Pee Wee threw, I don't know if it's Mark or Dean, one of the Sanic brothers outside the ring. I think it was Dean, but I don't
It
know
was the
for
black
sure.
one, whichever one that was.
Yeah, so that's Dean. So he threw Dean out of the ring, then he climbed up to the top of the ropes, and for all the way from the top of the ropes down to the mat, did a big elbow drop, which is a big move. But it just basically seemed like Blackout Dean just kind of essentially just disappeared. But regardless, it wasn't a like no one had the belt, even though the game glitched out and had Blackout come out with it. It was technically a vacated belt since the Dudley Boys went to Anarchy. But at the end, right before the countout happened, Pee Wee left the ring and came outside, and it should have stopped the countout.
Yeah.
And then, I think he came back in or something. Or no, he stayed out, but the countout kept going till 10. And technically, Wolfpack won. And since it was a vacated belt, even though it was by way of countout, Wolfpack still should have won and had the belts. But the game even glitched out there. It said that
Well,
since it
I was
glitched out in the
watching
first
that
place, with
match.
Blackout having the belts, it assumed that Blackout lost via countout but didn't lose the belts. So it's a
Yeah, I
very
noticed that too.
stupid
When he hit
match.
on that elbow, it looked like Mark. Well, like you said, Mark or Dean, whichever one it
Yeah,
is,
you
disappeared
couldn't
because
see him. He
you couldn't
just
see him. He
left.
wasn't there.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really, really weird. Between that and the fatal four-way glitch out, it was just a weird night in
Yep.
pay-per-view terms. But those things happen.
Yep.
So yeah, to make a long story short, Wolfpack won but didn't get the belts. The game is screwed up. Big surprise there. Never happens. No one ever sees that coming. But so we're just gonna redo it and see what happens. Hopefully, it's a clean, non-glitched out Extreme Rules tag team match, or we can get a champion. And then Nerd's got some things down the line to establish a contender, and he'll announce us, I assume, either this weekend or next week. So
That'd be cool. Good card this week. Both shows got some good cards this week.
yeah, I mean it's kind of tough right now. The Rumble being 2 weeks away, we gotta get people in for the Royal Rumble. We gotta do 15 from each show, and then 2 weeks notice. That's kind of
Yep.
tough to squeeze in all those matches, plus kind of keeping the things going that you've already got going. But it looks like Nerd's done a good job. I commend him for that. Should be a very interesting Carnage card. I think Anarchy is just straight up qualifier matches, if I'm not mistaken. But those are high pressure, high intense matches, and they got
Yeah.
some good people lined up to fight. So they should both be good shows. I don't know.
Yeah, 'cause that's
I mean, the only
that's
thing about it, you can have the best like card in the world, but whenever the computer takes over, AI versus AI, you just never know. Like I wouldn't have thought Hooligan versus Mr. Havoc would have been an incredible match that would go down in history, but
that
it was
match was
just
good.
that indeed.
Yeah.
I mean, you just never know. You put
That's
the
one
card
of the
together
matches.
and the AI does it and whatever.
That was
You
one of the
know.
matches that got y'all 4 stars last week.
Yeah, it was an exceptional match.
Good match. Um,
Yep.
well, um, I would give you your time to go over
Okay.
anything that you would like to discuss, and I will shut my mouth and let you
Okay.
go. So this is your time, and have at it, buddy.
Well, first things first, I got to address D Rod's Rooney actions from his podcast. He said three things in particular that stuck out to me. I want to address all three of those. Not going to take too long, but I'll address them as we go. The first thing I think he said, he was asked, "How can you make Carnage better?" And he said that you would fire the commissioner, which means firing me. But I don't think he's smart enough to realize that I've made the cards up until this week. Nerd Nerfer hasn't. I mean, he's put some input in and gave me some match types next week, but kind of gave him the liberty to take his time getting into the role of the GM. And so, when Anarchy lost the Carnage, it was because of me, D-Rod. So if you fire me, what are you gonna do then? I think he's just kind of scared. I think he realizes how good Carnage is and is going to continue to be, and so I think that's where that statement came about. And personally, in my opinion, I think D-Rod's just scared as always. But then again, he made another Rooney stupid comment. Let's see, what did he say? In particular, oh yes, talking about the Wolfpack. He said that according to D-Rod, asked him to not only join the Wolfpack but be a co-leader of the Wolfpack, and um, not a lot of truth there either. I gave the idea to D-Rod in the past of him joining forces with me to spin the WWC universe into a crazy tornado, so to speak, because no one would ever see D-Rod and I come together for anything ever in the history of WWC. So I said, what about that? What do you think about us joining forces? And I never said ever he would be the co-leader of the Wolfpack because he's corruption and the Wolfpack is not corruption. So why would I want 50% of Wolfpack to be corrupted? That doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah.
So I asked him, why don't you consider joining? And it's kind of where that is, and he never obviously did. So we never got to see that happen. But who knows? Maybe down the road we'll throw the universe for a tailspin and mix it up. But I don't know. So there's not a lot of truth in that statement either. And he had one other thing he said. I'm really trying to remember that too. He said firing me. He said him joining Wolfpack. Oh, and of course, it's now leaving my mind when it matters. What did he say? Shoot. Oh, well, he said he thought Anarchy was better because they have storylines. And we've all been a witness to these storylines, and I'm pretty sure recently they've all helmeted unknown character, plus last week the random pack call attacking the wolf pack or something.
Yeah.
And I think that if you do storylines well, they work well for you, but if you do them poorly, like you've seen with Anarchy, and maybe it was Donnie, I don't know. I'm thinking it's more D-Rod, but you see where they rank in the polls. They got crushed last week, and they tied the week before. They lost the week before that, and I think it's one or two times before that. So I think that D-Rod is ruining Anarchy, and it's showing in the polls, and I applaud him for that, and hope that he keeps doing that and keeps on that track, and Carnage just keeps winning week in and week out, and maybe eventually Donnie Havoc will see that it's not easy working D-Rod, and he'll just come over to Carnage and help us out and leave D-Rod by himself. That'd be amazing. See what D-Rod can do by himself for a change.
Yep. Yeah, that unknown WWC. I hadn't got to read much up on it, but it's kind of sounds kind of.
Oh yes, that brings up the third thing I was going to talk about. That's right. So unknown. I don't really know much about the motorcycle helmet as far as I can remember. Attacking random people in Wolfpack, and he's come into chat saying his main purpose is to break out the Wolfpack and break him up and to beat Wick and blah blah blah. And we're not supposed to know who this is, but sounds a lot like someone that we've heard a lot. Because he even said at one point, "What if I win and Wolfpack has this mantle? They have to break up." We've heard that 2 or 3 times from some individual in WWC. Not going to name names, but everyone pretty much knows who I'm talking about. So it seems kind of sketchy, seems pretty fishy, but now I've got to fight him at the pay-per-view on the Rumble. He's taken one of my 3 matches away from Carnage to do that stupid match. So I don't know. I think it's just another poor effort from D-Rod. Last week or 2 weeks ago, he tried to screw LA over, and we all saw what happened there, and it was a big failure on D-Rod's part. So I'm expecting another failure, but I'm just disappointed, and so is Nerd, that we're taking one of the Carnage matches away because we only get 3, and now we only get 2 for that stupid match. So it'll be me versus Unknown, whoever the heck that is. I'll probably win, like always, and D-Rod will be upset and throw something and throw a hissy fit on the stream live, and
Yep.
we'll allegedly figure out who this unknown person is at the Rumble pay-per-view. Just another one of D-Rod's antics, so
Yeah. I mean, it's kept chat a little bit active though. I will give it that.
Yeah, I mean, it's always interesting to have some unknown person. We saw in the WWE, La Luchador ended up being Mickey James.
Yep.
And that was a pretty interesting run out of storylines. So it's always intriguing to have someone that you don't know who they are and try to figure out who it is. So, yeah, I mean, it's kept chat going, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Can't hate on
Chat
that.
needed that really.
Chat does need it, yeah. Chat's picked up a lot the last few weeks in general. I think now that Carnage is doing better and the Wolfpack kind of was said to lose the middle fingers and we won, and they were said to lose the blackout and we won. I think kind of things are picking back up again. And now that, like you said, we've added Shane and Devin walking Wolfpack, they're 2 of the biggest talkers. So
Yeah.
the more Wolfpack, the better. Seems to be the logic behind WWC, apparently. I don't know if everyone agrees with that, but I sure do.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's going to be interesting when Asylum finally rears their head, and
Yeah, they're gonna be pretty dirty faction.
Interesting.
Yeah, Candace is no stranger to causing, putting people in their place and making them shut up. So
Yep.
she has ill intentions going forward, and we'll just kind of see where that goes.
Yep.
I mean, Carnage is pretty creative. I don't really ever turn people away from any ideas. Middle Finger wanted to come in and challenge Wolfpack, and wanted a 3-on-3 elimination match, and I said, "What? Whatever. See what happens." And I didn't know what was going to happen, but Wolfpack won, and me and Gears, I believe Huey defeated them. So I don't ever really shy away from any kind of storylines or ideas from other people. You're always welcome to message me or Nerd with your creative content for Carnage. It won't ever be instantly denied. I can't say that for Anarchy, but that's just because I don't know the situation. But I mean, just to take a few minutes, I want to appreciate and thank everyone for watching. Sorry, my phone's beeping, but watching Carnage and supporting it and being active in chat. And whether you like the Wolfpack or not, I enjoy all the back and forth rhetoric, whether it's good or bad. So I just want to thank the universe, WWC, for watching and supporting myself, Nerd, and Carnage. But also, like D-Rod always says, don't watch one show because you're on it, and don't watch another one because you're not on it. Both shows are interesting, and both shows have good wrestlers and storylines and whatnot. So
Yep.
watch them both, but always vote for Carnage on the poll. That just makes the most sense, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Um, I want to say one thing. Um,
Hmm.
the way I should have done this first show, but the way I do my ratings on these shows is this is for you and Nerd and D Rod and Donnie, just so y'all know. I know my ratings probably don't mean a whole lot, but um, my way I 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, but the way I do
Yeah.
that is if it keeps my attention, being I'm ranking this stuff, the show has to keep my attention. Glitches play a big part. I know it's from the game, but you know that can just ruin a card. I mean, just like you said earlier, when you get into AI versus AI and the computer takes over, anything can happen.
Yeah.
I base it on that. I base it on creativity. You know, which falls into the storyline part. Um, I do look at chat interaction a little bit too. That leads up
Okay.
to a lot of stuff. That's the four main factors. Pretty much the main factor is, like D Rod last week. He would have got 4 stars, but he pulled his shenanigans, and
Yeah.
to me,
They
that
failed.
kind of killed the show for me. Um,
Yeah.
I went over. You'll see the other podcast. It's already up on my channel.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know what the show ratings are.
Um, that's that's the four things that pretty much I look at is, the creativity. You know, if the show runs smoothly, um, shenanigans, corruption, and all that kind of stuff that takes away from it that shouldn't be, really shouldn't be necessary. Like the
Yeah.
Undertaker getting screwed over most of the time.
Yeah. It's getting kind of
Um,
old.
that I just wanted to put that out there so y'all know how I base my ratings on the shows.
Yeah. Well, last week's show actually had something happen that wasn't supposed to happen. Probably anyone knew about this, so it's really not that huge a deal, but would have made a bigger impact on a particular match. The tournament and title match between Cobalt and Hooligan was said to just be versus Hooligan and Cobalt, but then obviously we threw in Mr. Havoc. But he was supposed to come out last, but D-Rod put him first for some reason. So it kind of took away the surprise element, so to speak. I mean, it was still there, but not quite like it would have been if he would have came out last. So
Yeah.
D-Rod being D-Rod, I
So
guess.
yeah, that's the kind of stuff I look at. Is that type, them four things. I mean, like I said, it's just my ratings. I wanted to be unbiased, and that's the way I look at things. Is unbiased. I like both shows, but when I do my show, it's whoever's better.
Yeah.
And I judge it on that. And I try to explain in my when I do it, I try to explain why. I usually talk about the match if I have time. Today was kind of a short episode because of time restraints,
Yeah.
but anyway, I wanted to put that out there because I didn't do it last week. Um,
Do you mind if I flip the script for a minute and ask you a question or two?
sure.
So we know you left the commissioner's spot on Carnage, and you had some things going on. And life is first and foremost But now we see you doing some podcasts and getting more involved again in the WWC. Is there any other thing in the WWC you might do or might want to do or consider doing to be more involved?
I keep getting these boxes of juice boxes delivered to my house. Um, Third Gunman, he keeps, sending me, you know, pictures of stuff and everything hinting around. I'm not gonna say who
Hmm.
they're from. I mean, if you've been around the stream long enough, juice boxes should give it away. Um, you know, what's his name? Laker Taker. He's offered to buy me a car.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you know, I can only drink so much juice before
Before you become
somebody.
addicted, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that stuff's got a lot of sugar in it.
Hmm.
You
Well, we'll just leave that at that and see where that goes, I guess.
yeah, I mean,
Unless you want to announce something, unless you have something else to say,
there's
an
things
announcement or
things
something.
going on.
Okay,
I won't go any further than that, but
okay.
there's things rolling around. I've been giving it a lot of thought to.
There's always things rolling around that D-Rod never knows.
Yep.
Okay, so I guess time will just have to tell,
Yeah. Um,
as always.
but I want to give like I do in my other podcast. I want to give you and Nerd props. Y'all been been doing really good with Carnage.
Thank you.
Same with D-Rod and Donnie. Although I think Donnie
Well,
is
Donnie.
stiff,
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, yeah.
um, but yeah, I mean WWC has changed a lot the past month.
It has, and with this new ranking system in Carnage, it should
Yeah.
another change, and will hopefully it'll be good, and it'll be bring excitement to the rankings. And I mean, I think one thing that's basically essentially know about where their call is on the rankings, but they don't ever know for sure. So I think that this new ranking system coming out every week and being publicly displayed as your rank is number 4 and you're in the world ranking will be pretty entertaining and exciting. And then obviously it'll create some negative reactions more than likely if you personally think your call is ranked like third, but yet Nerd Nine's poll comes in and you're ranked sixth, so you're not in the world, but you're in the IC rankings for that particular moment. It'll be a weekly changing poll. I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be controversial yet exciting and intriguing at the same time. So I'm looking forward to it. Just another ripple effect that Carnage is doing,
Down the
try to
road,
make things a little bit different.
what would be really cool, on down the road is maybe you and Carnage and Anarchy getting together and doing an actual full WWC poll like that.
Yeah,
For both shows. That'd be
be a lot of
interesting.
work, a lot of heads butting with D-Rod and Donnie and I bet yeah.
Well,
That'd be interesting.
be interesting.
It would.
To rank the whole roster from both shows.
Yeah, that'd be pretty challenging. But yeah, that would be interesting. I don't know if it'd be relevant per show, but
It'd be an overall, WWC poll.
yeah,
That's something to think about down the road too.
yeah, yeah, sure, not a bad idea.
Um,
Not bad at all.
well, I think we're probably going on an hour.
Oh Lord,
Yeah.
people gotta be tired of hearing me by then.
But I want to thank you for hopping on here and being a guest.
Likewise, thanks for having me, George Assassin. As always, good time hanging out with
You're
you.
welcome. And it's been a
The
pleasure.
more Georgia we can have, the better, in my opinion. Bring it on.
Yep. Now I just got to find my next guest and get them on here.
I would recommend Donnie Havoc.
He's
I think Donnie might have a lot to say.
he's done denied. He said he don't want to get
Oh,
on the mic. So
what if you can ask him questions and he can just respond? He can go do it. Audible Donnie. I think Donnie's got a lot he might have to say or speak about, but you never know. Nerd Nerf would probably get one too.
yeah,
Other than that, I don't know. Good luck.
yeah. I just have to ask.
Yeah,
But again, thank you for joining the show, Wick. Been a
you're
pleasure.
welcome.
Um, Looking forward to the show this week.
Yep,
Although it's
it
at
should
10
be a good
o'clock
one.
our time.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
Life happens.
yeah, yep. can't turn away church.
Nope.
But I appreciate you joining, and I'm going to tell everybody goodbye, and appreciate you watching.